Bollywood, still uncoding. I had just stepped out of the special screening of Bewakufia that was held for my peers and friends from the fraternity. There was something amiss that I felt at that moment. I never really wanted to do Bewakufia. I somewhere assumed that the script would eventually evolve from the first draft I had read. Bewkufia, being my first film with YRF, didn't come across as the grand YRF film that I had grown up watching and wanted to be a part of. I felt very uneasy at that moment. Everybody around was being nice to me, no doubt. They were all praises for my work in the film. I hung around there for a bit, shook hands, faked smiles, and then I just left the place and came back home. My phone kept ringing all the time. There were numerous text messages, but I was numb by this time. That evening, sitting all by myself, I was cracking the most important code of my life, the most essential self note, too. I learned that one should always follow one's instincts. No other factor should influence your decisions other than your conviction in the script. Script is the king in our line of work. I remember being awestruck on meeting Rohan Sippy in the same office where the epic Sholay was narrated. But these things shouldn't be the reason for taking on a project. Thankfully, nothing affects me too much beyond a point. I get neither very ecstatic about anything nor completely down and out. I like to think of myself as a goofy Sufi, as they say there is light at the end of the tunnel. I found my light in the dead of that night. Bewkufia released to a lukewarm response, and thankfully the critics liked my acting in it, but none of it mattered to me. It felt like I had snapped out of the film for good. I have learned a lot from my failures. I'm sure I wouldn't have been half as sorted if I hadn't, as the lines from Emily Dickinson's poem, "Success is counted sweetest," say. Success is counted sweetest by those who never succeeded. To comprehend an actor requires sorest need. The truth is that a majority of the films here are made just because a star pair's dates are available. Some films are made because the producer and his wife want to holiday abroad. The reason why films get made are as random and bizarre as that. Passionate filmmakers like Sujit Da are an exception to the rule. Was I taking movies too seriously? Hell yeah! Compared to Adi or Sujit Da, my knowledge of cinema is smaller than SRK's cameo in Luck by Chance. Then why was I trying to intellectualize the debacle of a film that didn't even promise to change the world? Breathe in, breathe out. Is the light at the end of the tunnel still visible? It is. The truth is, no matter how hard I try, I can't take cinema lightly, be it Bewkufia or any of my forthcoming films. It's your choices that make or break you. If I have put in a hard day's work in something, I will take it seriously. Good cinema brings out the happy child inside me. I'll do everything it takes to make my film a better one. No, I will not teach the director how to shoot a scene. I will just hope that my enthusiasm rubs off on everyone involved in making the film. I'm not trying to say that I will only act in films that promise to change the world. I know it's too long a shot for a regular Hindi film to try and change even a single person. My only attempt will be to make sure that whatever film I chose to do will deliver on its promises. The case in point here is Hawai Zada, the film that is all set to release. It is a biopic and is true to its genre. Make no mistake, I am not saying that Hawai Zada will be the best biopic to come out of our industry. I am just saying that I believed in the script and therein lies an essential step in cracking the code. Just a few weeks ago, I was made to hear a narration of a script for a sex comedy. As much as it made me cringe and scream in my seat, I couldn't be rude to those who had come to narrate the film to me. I laughed where they were expecting me to laugh. I pretended to be shocked on cue. In that narration, I was at my acting best. Oscar level stuff, huh? Needless to say, I jovially declined the film, saying that the material was too risky for an actor like me to pull off. Without making a sorry joke out of myself, I hope whoever eventually does choose to act in that film does justice to the role offered and it goes on to become one of the best sex comedies ever made. No kidding, as long as they leave me out of it, I'm fine. Every film that is written usually finds its own bunch of takers. Sometimes the script catches an actor's fancy, at times a producer sees money-making potential in it. Every script finds a taker unless it's a really jinx project. The only difference is that the bunch of people who come together to make it happen will vary from script to script or star to star. For instance, if the bound script of Wicked Owner was given to five different filmmakers, they would make their own versions of it, depending on their individual sensibilities. Suppose Karan Johar liked the script of Wicked Owner and took it to SRK, it could become My Name is Wicked Owner. Sort of game changer. The same script, when given to say Anurag Kashyap, might look totally different. A neo-noir version maybe. Disclaimer. I would love to work with everybody who makes good film, commercial or otherwise. What I am trying to say here is that we all can coexist peacefully. There is no dearth of work for anybody. If you have a Twitter account and follow even a dozen B-towners, you will see what I mean. Hrithik Roshan is all praise for Priyanka Chopra's Mary Kom. Ranveer Singh is happily going gaga over Deepika Padukone's Finding Fanny, and so on and so forth. This scenario couldn't have even been imagined a decade or so ago. All the actors seem to have signed up for so-called mutual admiration society. This is another pointer in cracking the code. It makes sense to coexist without stepping on anybody's toes. There is only so much that we all can do in one lifetime. We can hope and pray that the best offers come to us, but that's about it. Who gets what or how much is beyond our control. This growing camaraderie amongst actors is a big lesson for everybody. Despite being insecure, narcissistic, vain and generally competitive, recent crop of actors seems to be comfortable with the films that land up in their kitty. No matter how much anybody tries, there is only so much one can do. I really admire the way Priyanka balances a multi-starrer like Dil Dhadakne Do with a gritty Mary Kom, just the way Ranbir Kapoor does a Barfi and Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. Of course, there are exceptions like superstar Shah Rukh and Salman, who have attained the Midas touch. Whatever they lay their hands on turns into cinema gold. Critics may pull their hair out saying that these superstars play to the gallery and don't experiment, but nothing succeeds like success. Let's save this for another book, shall we? The bottom line is that success begets success and happiness begets happiness. There is no point holding a grudge over your peers' success. Why not focus on how you could better your craft? Why not focus on making better career choices? As of this day, it has become a big level playing field. We all are just as good or bad as our last outing in the movies or in real life. The point is to be positive and optimistic. If you can be even half as energetic as Ranveer Singh, you are right on the right track. As I was saying, the meta code is to know your best and your worst qualities and then making peace with them. If I had the sensibility or insensibility to pull off a raunchy film, I would have jumped at the offer, but what if I was offered a superhero film? How far would I go? Could I pull off a Krish? Would I be able to beef up like Hrithik and pull out all the stops? I would, I will. Will I be seen in a sex comedy? No, I wouldn't even be seen dead in a sex comedy. That's all it takes to crack the code. Being comfortable in your skin amidst your good and bad. The magical moment of truth will decide your journey. It's difficult to crack but not impossible. I don't mean to say that I have completely cracked this code, but I am on my way there. Will I become a superstar? I don't know. Will I be a happy and content man? I really think so. A secret to cracking the code is to make your own codes. One man's medicine is another man's poison. At a holistic level, the code remains the same. Be truthful to yourself. You can lie to the entire world, but at the end of the day, it is just you and the person in the mirror. It is just your eyes staring at the roof, gaping at a vast nothingness moments before you fall asleep. If you ensure or even try to ensure that in that dark moment you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you have cracked the code. Congratulations. Perhaps after a decade or so, we could exchange notes on how this entire cracking the code worked for us. Did I crack it? Did I help you crack the code? Maybe I should rewrite these codes when life has taught me more lessons. But shouldn't I have shared my secret with you at the soonest? That's the least I could do for all the goodness that the universe has bestowed upon me. The one thing I have learned is that it isn't about how much you take, it's about how much you give back. I guess that's all I have for you in this book. See you at the movies. Ayushmann Bhava.